initially, more paperwork, and then I'm saying, well, no, because I'm doing the paperwork and we'll just revisit this at the end. And then once they saw the benefits to them of actually putting a little bit of thought into, why am I here? Why did I choose this class? And then as the process unfolded and the course unfolded, we get to the end, they really get to see where the progress has been. Yeah, but not in terms of, do you remember the wider benefits of learning? I would have just brought them up every now and then in terms of I'm knowing myself that one of the wider benefits of learning in a yoga class often is something like I want to learn to relax. It comes up again and again. So I would remind them maybe throughout the term of yoga, how are you getting on at home? When you feel you're stressed at home, how are you getting on with using some of the tools you're learning here to just relax? Just there and then, a little bit of relaxation. And it helps people to think, well, that's one of the reasons I wanted to come here. Is it actually benefiting me? And I suppose without the tool, we wouldn't have that framework to just check in with that as we go along. So we get to the end of the class, and at the end of the term, well, we get to the second last class, and I bring it up again there in the class, going, do you remember the capturing the wider benefits of learning form and the process we engaged in? And on the first day we talked about that, and so I remind them of it because I think it's useful for them to consider those wider benefits in terms of how they are at home in their daily life, so that they will have their minds made up maybe, or some idea at least where the progress has been and how significant the progress has been by the time we get to the last class. So introducing it in the second last class, and then the last class comes and we're sitting and we have the class, and there's always the last 20 minutes or so of the last class is anyway talking, because we'll be splitting up as a group and there are other things that you want to just tie up a few loose ends and what have you. So at that point I will say, here's the form, let's get the form out now, and I will produce the form. Have any of you brought with you your forms? Some will have, some will not. And so I will have some copies with me and I'll pass those ones out, and then we will all sit. They will have the forms, I will have a copy. Give them all a pencil or a pen and say, okay, first benefit, I want to learn to relax. So score yourself on that. Where do you think you were before the class started? Just think back to that. And then where do you think you are now in terms of your ability to relax? And then I suppose it's up to each individual then to decide on a scale of 1 to 10 where they were and where they are. So there's two things there always for me. I think there's the spread, the difference, the progress they've made, but also in relative terms, how bad they were, how stressed they were compared with how much better things may or may not have gotten for them now. But that's a very individual thing, and I tend not to influence the scoring in any way. Because I think that it's the integrity of the data coming back is really what we want, is directly from the students. Well, that is the one that usually is least intuitive in the beginning for them, because they don't know, often they don't know what we're getting at, and they don't know what they should be putting in the bubbles. So in the tool there is also some prompts as to the kinds of impacts that can be felt in community, in self, in education. So I would actually speak those to them. I would say, look, this is the kind of thing, what do you think? And let them, and often let them discuss amongst themselves, because I've always thought that bit might be a bit weighty for one person to be trying to fill out on their own, and there's often a discussion then around that, and they'll get to maybe 1 or 2. Well, I think the tool benefits both the teacher and the student, because when the class starts, it tends to point the way forward for you know, the benefits that people are looking for can often inform the course material, what the course material should be. And certainly in a yoga or meditation or mindfulness context, where it's not so much curriculum based and there's no exam at the end of it, it helps you to take a sounding from the group as to what they want to achieve. And then as a teacher, you can plan your lessons around that, in fact, to ensure that they are getting from you what they need to improve themselves with those benefits that they have said they wanted from the class. So it really benefits the teacher and the student from that point of view. I would say don't try and bring paper where paper does not usually live. You know, if people are not used to using paper, this doesn't have to go down that route. You can then just work with it verbally. And really, I think the main thing is that the pupils, the students, would have a copy to take home with them, which you can give them back on the second day if you don't have a photocopier in the facility you're teaching in. Bring one back and give it to them, because that's quite powerful too. Giving somebody a copy of something gives them a little bit of ownership around that. They'll take it home with them. They're likely to look at it again. So that's important. Don't try and force the paper where the paper doesn't need to be put. Yeah. There was one other thing now that I was thinking driving in here. You know, yoga is an awareness discipline. Yoga and meditation, they're all about awareness. And actually I thought the tool itself also is an awareness tool, which the students, it just reinforces the awareness of the yoga practice itself and the teaching of the yoga. Here's another level, another layer of awareness that, you know, am I aware of the benefits I'm going to get? What benefits am I hoping to get? And it helps the students to stay focused on that.